Hi guys. So today I'm here doing something a little different than I've done. Before I pretty much focused on solely books that I've read and reviews for those books. And I am still going to be doing that because I love it. And it's what I want to see a lot of times. So I'm still going to do that, but today I'm going to try something a little bit new and I'm going to be doing the Newbie Book Tag. A book tag is essentially where you answer some questions that were curated by someone else, and I will do my best to tag who my research has shown to be the original creator in the link or in the description below. Okay, so I've seen other booktubers do this tag, but I don't really remember any of the questions necessarily, so I'm going to read them and answer them with you. Okay, so the first one is, why did you start this channel? I think this one's really easy. I started this channel because I wanted to create a dialogue for the books I read. I kind of stumbled upon Booktube fairly recently, like in the last year or two, and I don't know what or why it hadn't occurred to me that this would be a thing because YouTube has everything. But I am in this book club, and we had just finished a book that I was really unhappy about. No, actually, that's not true. I finished a book that I was very, very happy with, and it was, just that same feeling that you get when you read a really good book. I just wanted to hear other people's opinions, and I just wanted to talk to people about it. So I kind of went to I went to YouTube. I looked up a book review for the book, and then I was like, oh my goodness, my mind is blown. I didn't realize this was such a huge thing. And then I went deeper and deeper into a hole, and I was looking for something kind of creative, so to speak. Just something that I feel like a project I feel like I needed. And this just fit everything about me. It was something I was already sort of doing except for the video part. This wasn't a hard addition. And I'm really enjoying it. Okay, so that was a really long answer to that question. What are some fun and unique things you can bring to BookTube? I don't know. I don't know that my intentions when I started this channel were to bring anything new and exciting aside of just start a dialogue about the books I'm reading. I think maybe if anything, I might read things that are slightly different than kind of the usual stuff that you're seeing. Ish. I don't know. Hopefully something. What are you most excited about for this new channel? Truly starting a dialogue about the books I'm reading and really just getting recommendations from all of you for the things you're reading that you find amazing. As it is, I've already read some amazing books that I've just enjoyed so much. A lot of things actually out of my usual genres, and I've been really enjoying it. So really for me, it's a place where I could get recommendations and read things outside of what I would normally check out. Why do you love reading? I don't know that this question can be answered. Reading is amazing. It's transportative and immersive. And you get that feeling when you've read a really good book that can grip every one of your emotions and take you through it. But it can be in this fantasy land or in this RoboCop sci-fi situation. And I think stories just transcend everything, and they're just so beautiful. I love reading. What book or series got you into reading? I don't know that I've always read since I was little, so I don't know that there has ever been a book or series that got me into reading. I can probably remember certain books that I remember one of the first books I was given was a book of Greek mythology that I still have and is still one of my favorite books. And I've always loved mythology, so I guess for me there was always a little bit of that, but ever since I was little, I've always been a reader. What questions would you ask your favorite booktubers? I don't know. I feel like I am happy with the information that I get from them that I don't know. What challenges do you think starting a booktube channel will be the hardest to overcome? Ooh. One of the things that I actually see a lot on other booktubers channels is that they're reading these copious amounts of books. And at first, actually, it was almost something that I was a little bit apprehensive about, because it was like, okay, well, I feel like I have to either stick to a TBR or stick to the books I'm reading. And I think the biggest challenge for that will be I'm very much a mood reader. I'm very much, I actually would say that I have trouble starting books. Actually starting is not, no, there's there's a one chapter, I've read almost one chapter in every single book I have. It's getting past the one chapter every time that sometimes I find a little bit difficult. But really, I think it'll just be kind of staying excited about things, because I'm getting so many different recommendations that I cannot read quick enough to get through it before I'm already excited about something else. But I also think that's a really good problem to have. Okay, next question. When did you start reading? I don't know, when I was a child. That's kind of what question is that? I guess people don't read. I mean, I've always gone through periods where I've read more or less, obviously. Like when I was in college, it was a little bit harder to read, but I actually found I was changing the genre that I was reading. I started to pick up a lot more comedy books, or just humor writing, or memoirs about, granted, when I was in college, there was a lot of SNL people writing memoirs. So for me, that was a particularly enjoyable thing. So it just sort of changed the way I was reading, I guess. But I don't know that I've ever stopped reading. I've always been a reader. Ever since I can remember. Where do you read? I read absolutely everywhere. I don't tend to read to go to sleep too much, because I don't if I'm going to read, usually I'm the kind of person that will fall asleep standing up kind of a thing. If I'm tired, I'm tired. So that's not necessarily a great situation for me. If I really want to get a good chunk of reading done, my favorite time to read, I would say, would be weekend mornings when it's really quiet. That's usually as I'm drinking a cup of coffee and warming up into the day. That's my favorite time to read. But really, I guess I read anywhere. My favorite place to read, I suppose, would be on a hammock. That's not always possible. But anyway. Ooh, this is the last question and my favorite one. What kinds of books do you like to read? So, I like to read everything, and I particularly like to read things that I've never read before. That being said, I have not explored certain genres almost at all, but I have found that when I have, I tend to like them. So, the things that I read the most would be historical fiction, adult contemporary. I don't read a whole lot of YA. I'm not against it. I don't have any issue with it. I think a good story is a good story. I just don't tend to read a whole lot of it. Classics here and there, memoirs. I do like a lot of nonfiction. So oftentimes I'll be reading 2 to 3 books at a time. And it's usually that I have a physical book I'm reading, a audiobook, and some type of nonfiction as well. So I'm usually kind of switching between the 3. There are certain things I like pretty heavy, hard-hitting, I like heavy emotion, really heavily driven, emotionally charged books, and I like them to be nonfiction a lot of times. That can be difficult to get through, and sometimes I find that it's not so much that it necessarily bothers me, but if I'm trying to wind down, I want something a little bit more enjoyable, a little bit lighter, than to kind of go through that kind of heavy emotional burden. But really, those might be my favorites. I love anything anything mythology, Greek or of any other kind. I love fantasy. I love stories. I do actually read quite a bit of fantasy, and more so than I probably have ever read in the past. I've always loved it. I've always been a huge, give me dragons, monsters, knights. I don't even care. Give me anything. I will take it. But that's actually one of the things that my boyfriend and I do together is he really, really likes a lot of fantasy series. Way more intense than myself. So I've actually gotten into a lot of them because of his urging me to do so, and I've been really happy with them. Like I'm currently reading the Mistborn series, the first 3, and it was a series that I ended up putting off for a really long time, but I am loving it. I will say though, I think I find certain fantasy series a little bit tedious, so I tend to kind of go with, if I read a fantasy series, I tend to go for something that is very opposite of it. So yeah. So those are my questions. I hope that you got a little bit of insight about me today and that you'll stick with me as we go through this reading journey together. If you're new to this channel, hit the like and subscribe button, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.